Live from the Ed McMahon Mass Communications Center at Quinnipiac University, this is QNN, the Quinnipiac News Network.
Good evening and welcome to QNN. I'm Marcus Haroon.
And I'm Kevin Noonan. Colleges and universities across the country encourage students to take part in community service.
Every year, Quinnipiac students have the opportunity to give back to the community in a big way. Taylor Massey has more.
Taylor Massey, QNN.
Ever wonder what you can do for Blue? Well, now you can help freshmen move into their dorms by applying for the QU Move-In Crew. Applications are now available online through MyQ and are due by midnight on May 1st. Decisions will go out via email to applicants 5 days after the deadline on May 6th. For more information, you can contact the Move-In Crew Committee at moveincrew@quinnipiac.edu.
Attention seniors, information sessions for Senior Week start tonight in the Carl Hansen Student Center. You can find the session in rooms SC 119, 120, and 225 at 9:30 p.m. Remember that you must attend one mandatory session in order to attend Senior Week. Your cue card will be tapped or swiped to confirm your attendance. Only one cue card will be accepted per person.
Last week, members of the Greek community participated in Greek Week. This year, the theme was Disney, and all the money raised and food donated went to the Connecticut Food Bank. The events included a speaker about alcohol responsibility, Greek God and Goddess, which is similar to a beauty pageant, and the most popular event, Lip Sync. This year's winners were Alpha Chi Omega and Pi Kappa Phi. The overall winners of Greek Week were Alpha Delta Pi. Kappa Alpha Theta held their annual Kicks for Casa kickball tournament this past Sunday. All the money raised is being donated to Theta's philanthropy, CASA, which stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates. Students from various organizations participated in the tournament, and the brothers of Delta Tau Delta were champions in the end.
This afternoon, Quinnipiac had their Faculty Scholars and Student Service Learning Celebration.
Jake Campbell has the story.
Although these teachers and students are going home with awards, the real winners are the thousands of people and communities they have helped. Jake Campbell, QNN.
After the Huskies won the national championship last night, the celebration got out of hand on the Yukon campus. WTNH reported 35 people were arrested. Police say people broke into the IT building and shattered a window. A light post was knocked down and the student union was damaged. Police say rival fans also made a mess in Kentucky and 31 were arrested. Coming up, Joey Zacco will have a wrap-up of the championship game later in the newscast. Now in California, another big party. This one turned into a near riot, injuring more than 24 people, including 6 police officers. About 15,000 people, many of them students from the University of California, Santa Barbara, crowded the streets for the annual Deltopia celebration. It turned ugly when a police officer was hit in the head with a backpack that contained large bottles of alcohol. Nearly 100 people were arrested.
In national news, a young child was struck by a bus without a driver.
And some homeowners in California are searching through the debris of their homes after a massive fire. Abby Uzamir has more.
Thanks, guys. In San Diego, California, several homes were destroyed in a fire yesterday afternoon. One home was completely destroyed while the nearby homes were severely damaged. Firefighters were able to evacuate the homes and no one was injured. The cause of the fire is still unknown. Monday afternoon, a 3-year-old boy is missing after falling into a swollen creek while fishing with his mother. Search teams went in to look for the boy but have had no luck of finding him. Sheriff of the Louisiana Sheriff's Department says the water is very swift and a dangerous situation for anyone to be in. Reportedly, foul play has not been a factor. Their search will continue later on today. A child was hit in Maryland by a school bus that was left unattended. The bus rolled across the sidewalk and into the crowd of children at the bus stop. A 7-year-old boy was then hit and trapped under the bus. Luckily, a nearby witness was able to pull the boy out without being severely injured. The bus driver is now under investigation. It's crazy to think that the bus driver was in the bathroom the whole time. Back to you guys.
Yeah, what a crazy story. Hopefully the students are all okay.
Yeah, I can't believe that bus jumped the curb and struck a young child.
Yeah, well, coming up next, minimum wage is increasing in Connecticut. Find out how it will affect your paycheck.
Plus, there is a promising update in the search for missing Malaysian Airlines Flight 370. We'll be right back. Welcome back to QNN. Connecticut is the first state to raise the minimum wage to $10.10 an hour starting in the year 2017.
And now the question is, will the federal and other state governments do the same? As Matt Bynack tells us, the fear is businesses may cut jobs to pay the higher rate.
Matt Bynack, QNN.
In world news, a new skydiving record was set in Dubai.
And new clues in the missing Malaysia Airlines flight. Ryan Sheehy has the details right now in world news.
Thanks, guys. Malaysia Airline Flight 370 has been missing for a month now. However, officials believe they have their most promising lead yet. Search equipment was able to detect signals consistent with the pings that are from aircraft black boxes. The two separate signals came from the Indian Ocean off the west coast of Australia, which is where it is believed the plane went down. In other news, there is a new development in the Russia and Ukraine standoff. Over the weekend, pro-Russian protesters were able to seize state buildings in 3 eastern Ukraine cities. Then on Monday, they declared the area as independent and have called for a referendum on seceding from Ukraine. The vote on the secession will take place no later than May 11th. And finally, a new Guinness World Record has been set. A skydiver in Dubai landed a 4,200-meter jump with a parachute that was just 3.2 square meters. That is the smallest parachute ever for a parachute jump. The size of a standard parachute is typically 4 to 5 times bigger than that. Larger parachutes provide more air resistance, creating a steadier and safer jump for the skydiver. Well, guys, I gotta ask, would either of you ever consider going skydiving?
Absolutely not. The only thing you'll see me jumping out of is my bed when I'm late for class.
Well, coming up next on QNN.
The rate of overweight and obese children is on the rise.
Plus, it might finally feel like spring out there. Find out the weather forecast for the weekend. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The week ahead in weather looks much nicer than we've seen in the past few weeks. Check out those temperatures on the 8-day forecast.
Look for temperatures to be in the upper 50s and lower 60s for the rest of the week and into the weekend. Sunday appears to be the best day of the weekend with partly cloudy skies and a high temperature of 61 degrees.
And now in health news, running longer might not mean a healthier or longer life.
And expired pain relievers may still be okay to use. Kate Sherry has more.
Thanks, guys. Have you ever taken an expired medicine or pain reliever and wondered if it still worked? Well, experts say some expired medicine may still be okay for use. Many tablets and capsules have a shelf life much longer than the date on the bottle, so if you have a minor headache or sinus trouble, the expired pills may still help. But doctors say do not take the chance if your condition is serious. Running more miles may not be the key to a longer life. Scientific research that was presented this week in Washington shows runners who average more than 20 miles a week do not outlive those who are running less. This is not an excuse to quit the exercise altogether, but just another situation where moderation is key. Severe obesity in children is on the rise again, and video games may be a major factor. Researchers have found that kids who spend most of their time in front of television screens have an increase of health risks, including obesity. Children who are obese are more likely to have high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes later in life. Research shows that when parents set limits on screening time, their children's health and weight improved. Hopefully this study will encourage parents to motivate their children to play outside and put those video controllers down, especially now since the weather's warming up. Back to you guys.
Thanks very much, Kate.
Coming up on QNN, one New England ice cream company is offering free ice cream cones today.
Plus, the big news of the day, UConn's 4th national championship. We've got that ahead in sports. Stay with us. And now in sports, a huge accomplishment in Quinnipiac softball.
And the UConn men's basketball team is national champions once again. Joey Zacco has more on the Huskies.
Thanks, guys. Well, as Marcus said, the big news from last night was the UConn men's basketball team winning their 4th national title in the past 15 seasons and first under a head coach not named Jim Calhoun. The Huskies took on the Kentucky Wildcats. The last time Kentucky lost in an NCAA tournament was in 2011, too. You guessed it, the Huskies, and there's some people there to watch the game. Former Presidents Bill Clinton and George W. Bush. And started off early, DeAndre Daniels with the dunk past James Young. You'll hear more about him later. Here's Shabazz Napier to Ryan Boatwright. He's going to go baseline and lay it in. UConn up 9 early. And right before the half, one of the Harrison twins to Randall, the lob, and one left hand. Julius Randall cuts into the UConn lead. UConn would lead by 4 at the half. Now in the second half, here's that James Young kid again. A big slam over 2 Huskies, DeAndre Daniels and Anita Brima. There you see it, a big slam. Young would make the free throw and cut the UConn lead to 6. The Wildcats would get it down to 1, but the most outstanding player of the Final Four, Shabazz Napier, would say, not any closer. The fans like it. Shabazz likes it. Boatwright played well as Napier, and there's a big fadeaway over Randall to give UConn a 6-point lead. The fans can feel it. The players can feel it. They're national champions. 60-54. The Huskies win it, and UConn never trailed in the game. And UConn is 4-0 in national championship games. And from men's to women's now, the UConn women's basketball team will look to make it an all-UConn sweep tonight as they look for their 9th national championship against undefeated Notre Dame. And now in golf, the Masters will begin this Thursday in Augusta, Georgia. And the pairings of who will be playing with who the first 2 rounds has been announced. One golfer you won't hear about in the group pairings is Tiger Woods, who has withdrawn from the Masters to recover from a back injury. Notable pairings include defending Masters champion Adam Scott teeing off with PGA Championship winner Jason Duffner. Last year's Open Championship winner Phil Mickelson begins play with Ernie Els, and reigning U.S. Open champion Justin Rose. And now in some college news, the Quinnipiac Bobcats softball team finished making history on Monday. Bobcats pitcher Hannah Lindsley tossed Quinnipiac's first no-hitter in the school's Division I history against Manhattan in the second game of a doubleheader. The first 3 innings of the game were played back on March 29th, and the rest of the game was finished on Monday. Lindsley finished with 2 strikeouts and 1 walk in 7 innings of the 2-0 Bobcats victory. Now, guys, all of us being from Connecticut, how pumped were you on a scale of 1 to excited when UConn won the national championship?
Joey, I was pretty excited, but I'll be more excited tomorrow after the UConn women's basketball team wins and it's dollar burritos at Moe's.
Yeah, me too.
But for all you ice cream lovers, it's free cone day at Ben & Jerry's. The company is offering free ice cream cones to say thank you to all of its customers.
This tradition started after they opened their first shop 35 years ago. Ben & Jerry's had 750 ice cream shops in more than 24 countries. Now that's a lot of ice cream.
Thanks for joining us for QNN.
We'll be back next week with more news around Quinnipiac and the local community. Have a good night.
Most retailers rely on Christmas sales to survive. Last year, the National Retail Federation reported that 19% of total retail industry sales happened at Christmas. That's partly thanks to Black Friday, a successful business strategy where retailers offer limited, one-time deals to their savvy holiday shoppers. According to Shopper Track, Black Friday store visits climbed 3.5% last year, but its retail sales fell 1.8%. That drop may be due to holiday shoppers being more cautious and deal conscious. The other side suggests that perhaps consumers are learning to wait for even more deals, like those offered online. According to IBM Benchmark, online sales soared more than 17% on the Thursday of Thanksgiving, followed by a nearly 21% increase on Friday last year. Blaine Branchick is an associate professor of marketing at Quinnipiac University. He finds online shopping on Cyber Monday after Thanksgiving is popular because people are time-starved.
You have shoppers who are time-starved. They just don't feel like they have a lot of time to do sort of that traditional shopping, spending the day at the shopping mall, things like that. So they find this idea of being able to go to a virtual shopping mall 24 hours a day that weekend, in particular on that Monday, while they're at work and are taking a break from their work. They find that really ideal.
Virtual shopping at any time of the day gives holiday shoppers many reasons to skip the Black Friday madness and shop online.
Crazy. It gets crazy in the stores.
Convenient. I don't have to leave the house and then get shipped to my door.
Blaine says that retail stores have only themselves to blame for this shift in shopping habits.
Since retailers have taught consumers how and when to shop, they in essence have taught consumers to line up before dawn on the day after Thanksgiving to start their Christmas shopping. And they've trained them to do that by having extended hours and offering these incredible sales promotions where you are able to buy products below the retailer's cost. And so that training is sort of being redirected now to the internet. And so these brick and mortar retailers are sort of reaping what they've sown.
And with Thanksgiving just around the corner, retailers are trying to find new ways to get holiday shoppers away from their screens and back into the stores. For Q30, I'm Stephanie Alwardt. When looking for a place to live, many people face the same question: do I rent or do I buy a home? According to Home Properties Incorporated, nationally rents rose about 2.7% from last year, as many people are continuing to opt for renting rather than home ownership due to different circumstances. Although renting has continued to increase over the years, even that isn't cheap in Connecticut. In some parts of Hamden, for example, people are spending 35% or more of their income on rent. Eric Rajunas is a realtor in Hamden. He says it's the free marketplace at work, and that's why landlords charge so much.
Because it can be, and that's what it is. Saying go back to where the people lost their homes, and now what's happening is you have landlords who are taking advantage of that, and that's what it is. And it's outrageous. Some of the rents that I see are crazy, and you don't get anything.
With the homeownership rate down to 65.1%, the lowest since 1995, many are wondering if owning a home is still the American dream.
A lot of people got into a lot of trouble financially with mortgages, okay? And then when that happened, they now lost their homes. So now they have to have someplace to live. So they're renting. So that's not the American dream because they lost their homes, and I feel sorry for them.
Eric Johnson, an assistant professor of economics at Quinnipiac University, blames the economy for the drop in home ownership.
What's really gone on is you've seen a big economic recovery after the financial crisis, but for the vast majority of people, this hasn't meant higher wages. So I would argue that the lower home ownership rates are not due to some sort of structural change in how people perceive home ownership. It has a lot more to do with the just ability to even afford or buy.
There are many factors to consider before making the decision to own a home. In Eric Johnson's opinion, right now is not a bad time to buy a home.
Right now, if you're thinking of buying a house, right now is not a bad time to potentially buy a house because you have very, very low interest rates and the actual cost of homes has dropped a lot. Okay?
That is, if you plan to stay in one place for at least 5 years. For Q30, I'm Stephanie Alwardt.
With the semester coming to an end, Quinnipiac students are preparing for the much-anticipated May weekend.
Stephanie Alwardt has the story.
I love May weekend because I get to hang out with my friends all weekend and it's just fun.
Well, I love May weekend. Get to hang out, you get to see everyone who you didn't get to see all year before you go away for summer.
May weekend is the last weekend for students to go out drinking and celebrating before finals. For many students, it is the highlight of the semester. Even freshmen like Maury Hirsch-Gordon have heard about the festivities.
I'm only a freshman, so I've only kind of heard the rumors, heard the hype, how New Road's closed down, they've got kids walking around. So I would really just say it's a fun weekend.
The only issues with this weekend is the university's stance regarding drinking and student safety. Students have strong opinions about the university's views towards May weekend.
The university acts like it's just a regular weekend, but they crack way more down on drinking and stuff.
Students like Joey Lamb think that the university may be putting students in more danger by not recognizing May weekend.
I think they should recognize it as an event again because now more students are going off campus and risking their lives. And if they're on campus, they'd be a lot more safe.
The university's efforts to educate students about drinking policies does not go unnoticed. They sent out emails reminding students of university policies and procedures in light of May weekend.
It at least catches your attention, it makes you read a couple of the paragraphs, and just gives you a heads up. I always say know where the fun ends and the trouble begins.
For some students, nothing can stop them from enjoying this weekend.
Who even reads those emails? But I mean, it's just like a warning or who really cares? Their kids are still gonna drink and do whatever.
Reporting for QNN, I'm Stephanie Alwardt.